Warning: the following podcast contains strong language which some listeners may find offensive. If you do,
Up yours! That's only if you don't listen to the podcast. Otherwise, not up yours.
did you know the Untitled Wrestling Podcast is on all of the social media outlets? Give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, or even a review if you're feeling generous. Facebook and YouTube at Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Twitter, Twitch and Discord at UntitledWresPod.
Right, next up then, we'll move on to Breakout Star. So this is like a sort of like who's caught fire this year. And like, it could be someone who was like a rookie who's really improved. It could be someone who's been like a mid-carder who's like finally made it up to the main event. Anyone who's just had a massive elevation in their, I would not even say like talent, but status more than anything else. Which could also come with talent. But, right, so our nominees are Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Dominic Mysterio, Leon Slater, MJF, Brian Keith, Hook, Kate Calloway, Jason Reed, LA Knight, Jey Uso, and Logan Paul.
Logan Paul was a late entry in there. When did that make it in?
I've just added.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, when did that make it in?
I would argue that Logan Paul shouldn't be in there because he's always been portrayed as like the star. Like they've not portrayed them as any higher than he already is.
I would argue that he's improved since like over this year as a wrestler.
I wouldn't agree.
No.
No?
Yeah,
I wouldn't say he's improved as a wrestler because I think he was already very good.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I think he's just been featured more. I don't think he's improved. Like, he looked good already.
Okay, well, I've just added them, but take him out then.
we will abandon Logan Paul like he abandons pigs. So
we'll scrap Logan Paul like he scrapped CryptoZoo.
Too soon. When you have to be like specific about your controversies, maybe you've got too many.
Right.
I think there's three that really stand out for me here.
First of all, can we really call MJF a breakout star? I think.
Why is he in this list?
I think he's already there. I think that's.
Who put that in there? Is that someone not on the call?
I think I put him in there, but I can't remember why I put him in there. I think, to be fair, when I was putting mine in, I was a little bit drunk, so I may have just.
Who wants to talk about Jason Reed, whoever he is?
I don't know who Jason Reed is.
Defo and Aaron edition.
Okay.
On that, out you go. So, with one eye on people that we know, I would like to respectfully remove Kate Calloway. This, if anyone doesn't know, this is Courtney, a friend of the podcast, who's taken professional wrestling this year. Made her debut. She only debuted. You can be a breakout star if you've only just debuted. That's my only like sort of knock on this.
I think we keep an eye on what she's doing next year.
This time next year.
I say watch this space on this one, but I think it's a little too soon.
Yeah,
it's fair.
Again, I say this is a man who can't take a bump because like my body will explode. But you know, I'm not like. But yeah, keep an eye out. Kate Calloway, look it up. I want to really strongly push for Julia Hart here.
Same.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Julia's had like a standout year, not only as like breakout star, but also as like one of the best women's wrestlers of the year.
She's won. Her character work's been phenomenal all year. She finally captured a singles title. Her in-ring work has gotten like ridiculously good. Like that moonsault she does, because she's like,
where she looks like she's floating.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think she's had probably one of the best years for women in AEW, of all the women in AEW.
Mm-hmm. I think absolutely she should be locked in if everyone else is okay with that.
I agree with that.
I haven't seen enough to comment, but I think the three of you agreeing on that probably says she should be.
From what I don't watch as much AEW as what these two do, but from what I've seen of her, she's definitely improved.
Right, so Julia Hart goes up into the circle. Now, Troy, we had a little chat about this before the show, before we recorded. LA Knight.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
I think people are a lot more aware of him now if they weren't before. The fact that he's managed to shake off the maximum male model
the stank of Max Dupree.
The stank of Max Dupree.
I think the year he's had defines Breakout.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
He went
if you look at him now, he's like a number one merch seller. Like he walks out as soon as his music hits, people go nuts. The fans chant his catchphrases.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's not the definition of a breakout star, then what is?
Yeah. Get him up.
Yeah.
Did
I do it right?
He's a TNA boy. You should know.
I don't know him as LA Nightmare. I know him as I don't even know him as he was after my time.
Fair enough.
Similarly, I would argue Dom could leave because I think he's been around for a little bit longer than a year. I think he's been big for a while now. I think he's had a good year, but I think for where he started at a higher floor, so I think he's gone up less than a lot of people on this list.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that argument could be made.
Yeah.
I do think he's had a breakout year in the fact that people have stopped kind of thinking of him as Ray's son, and now he's his own sort of like he's
his own character now.
Out of his dad's shadow.
I did see someone make an argument about him that he got out of the shadow of Rey Mysterio, which is, I mean, despite the fact he's not a tall guy, it's a hell of a shadow to get out of.
Yeah.
Biggest little man, mates. Come
on. I don't think Hook belongs on this list.
Has he not been around for a while?
I think his breakout year was maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah, it was last year. I think last year was his tag team with Action Bronson. It was him winning the FTW Championship against Ricky Starks. Yeah, I think that was his year. I think this year has been steady progression. He's definitely gotten better, but I don't think it's been as big for him as last year was.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So we'll take Hook off. Respectfully, we'll remove Hook from this list. Please don't hurt me.
I would take. Go on, Jay. Go on. You go ahead. No, you go.
I was going to say get Jey Uso out there.
Yeah, I was going to about to say that as well.
Fair enough.
Someone who's been referred to as main event Jey Uso for the last 3 years shouldn't be in a breakout star category.
So I
want to point that one out.
I put him in there purely for breaking out of the bloodline.
So I saw a tweet, right, and I just want to reiterate this because it was funny. I don't mean it in a serious sense, but someone said they hadn't watched WWE for years, and they put on I can't remember. I think it must have been Survivor Series or it was one of the pay-per-views, and someone came out and it turned out it was Jey Uso, and he was introduced as main event Jey Uso, but he was in the opening match, and his music was like all about him being on his own, and then they introduced his tag team partner.
They were like they broke him away from the bloodline just to put him in a tag team with Cody Rhodes.
But they had a hell of a promo after they won the belts, though.
Yeah,
in the press conference.
If he'd have beat Roman, he would have been a lock and he would have won the category, but he didn't. So sorry.
He did pin Roman, I suppose, but
who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Who's
Brian Keith?
Brian Keith. Oh,
yeah, he's good.
He's good. He's a guy. He's been in GCW, hasn't he? I'm surprised you've not seen him.
I probably have seen him now.
Where's the cowboy hat and the chaps
and the poncho? Yeah, he's basically come from like sort of indie obscurity to be like one of the hottest guys on the indie scene. And
man.
If he's not already signed with AEW, I think he will be very soon. The way he's been featured on their programming lately. He had a good showing at Final Battle. He had a banger of a match with Orange Cassidy. My only knock against Brian Keith is this all seemed to happen in the last month or so.
Yeah.
It's been a very slow build otherwise.
He'd been doing a lot of stuff kind of like in places like DPW and sort of like round like smaller American indies. So he'd be someone who'd pop up on like shows I was watching a lot. I think personally
next year
probably he's gonna have a bigger year next year, so probably
I think he's setting himself up for a big 2024. So again, I think we'll clock back in on this and we'll catch up with Brian Keith. Hopefully winning some AEW gold, maybe. Who knows? Next year.
I'd like to say the same about Leon Slater. I love Leon Slater. I think he's fucking superb. And if you're a UK wrestling fan, he's already broken out. I think now that he's been signed by Impact again next year, you'll probably recognise him more as an international breakout star.
I'd argue that Leon had a breakout year this year purely because he's literally won titles like loads of places he's been, or won tournaments and everywhere he's been. He's doing like great work in TNT, Progress, Rev Pro. to name just a few. North as well. And again, as I say, he's won titles in almost all of them.
But he's been doing that for years. So, like last year was like when I saw him against Takeshita in Progress. Like, that was he was already big then. Again, I'm with Troy on this. I think this year falls between like what was probably his true UK breakout year last year and what's probably going to be his international breakout year next year.
Yeah, that's fair.
So again, I think we can say Leon Slater is already the king of the UK wrestling scene. If we had a UK wrestling category, he'd be probably winning that
next year.
But I think he's going to absolutely dominate. If he's not X Division champion sometime next year, I'll eat my hat. He's got that written all over him. If he beats Chris Sabin, I'm fucking imagine that. Jesus Christ.
Sir.
So then it leads me to Sky Blue, who I really want to push as well, because fun fact, Sky Blue has had more matches in AEW than any other woman this year.
Wow.
She's gone from being basically a jobber to now kind of the workhorse of the women's division.
She's very good as well. And she's come leaps and bounds. I think the only thing for Sky that's kind of got me on the fence about it is that she's not won any belts or anything. Like, she's come really close. I thought she should have maybe, but that's why like I'd probably put maybe Dominic over her.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Do you want so Sky Blue I think has improved more, like from where she was to where she is now. Because she was literally just a face, and now she's one of the she's kind of taken over
the whole repackage has been really good.
She's kind of taken over the position Britt Baker was in before she sort of stepped away to deal with what I assume is her injury. Like being that sort of like workhorse who's in like all the matches, she was always there. But Dominic has won a title and has held a title. So it's what do you value more?
My thing for Dominic is he like broke away from Ray at Clash of the Castle last year, which was September. From then, he's broken out built his own thing.
And also, like we were saying earlier about like how a faction is there to elevate each member in there. Yeah. You look who's in that faction: Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and he's still managed to stand out.
And he's one of the most hated people.
And
like,
yeah.
Guys, if you don't like sexy goth girls, you can just say it's fine.
Well, no, I never said that.
Never said that. Come on, you're putting words in my mouth here, man.
Okay, I mean, I can buy Dom in this because, as we said, he got away from the he's just the guy who wrestles his dad to now he's like a legitimate star.
Yeah, and that happened late last year, so it's been this whole year.
Yeah.
Okay, so I say Dom goes up, LA Knight wins. That's my gut feeling.
I would agree with that, though. Yes, 100%.
Strong agree.
100%.
Oh, go on, Jay.
I would have said Julia Hart.
I mean, I love Julia Hart. She
is fucking great. Yeah,
she has. But does she get the crowd reactions that LA Knight gets?
No, that's true. She's getting big crowd reactions though. But yeah, she doesn't get.
I think she's a close number. She's a close second. I think LA Knight.
LA Knight went from like manager to main eventer in a year. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
There you go. That sums it up.
So there we go. Our breakout star of the year is LA Knight with Julia Hart and Dominic Mysterio also finalists. Right, we're back with our next category. So this is a it's going to take some whittling. This is best indie wrestler. So I've kind of characterized this. Basically, no one signed to AEW or WWE or New Japan, and also nobody who's appeared on an AEW or WWE pay-per-view, because I think there's a couple of big names, like up until recently, Will Ospreay. I don't count him really as an indie guy anymore because he's kind of big league now. Just to sort of get those people out the way, so we can sort of shine a light on some of the more lesser known talent out there who really deserve to be talked about. So a lot of nominations here. So we've got Speedball Mike Bailey, Gringo Loco, George South, Effie, Blake Christian, Harley Hudson, Leon Slater, Man Like DeReese, Lizzie Evo, Brian Keith, Matt Tremont, Big F and Joe, Tate Mayfairs, Matt Cardona, and Spike Trevay.
That's a list, that is.
Where do we even start here?
Can I start by saying something very controversial? I think we should get rid of Speedball.
Why?
Because is he not signed to Impact? I wouldn't call him an indie wrestler anymore.
Is he signed to Impact?
He's
I'm not
signed
sure
to
he is.
Impact, but
He's not an indie wrestler then.
he goes
mean-
around like all the fucking indies.
I know he does, but he's
signed.
technically-
If he's contracted, he's not independent, is he?
Are
Really?
I mean-
are we booting Speedball on a
I
technicality?
love
He's
Speed.
not independent. I love him just as much as you guys, but he's not independent,
I
is he?
wouldn't call him indie.
He's signed to he's signed to the third biggest promotion in North America. He's not an independent
and then
wrestler.
with TNA going places now.
For a technical
that logic,
violation, then Speedball is gone.
Okay, by that logic, then Blake Christian, Harley Hudson, Leon all need to go.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although, hang on, just to counter that, Leon and Harley have just been signed. They've spent 90% of the year as an independent wrestler. Whereas how long has Mike Bailey been signed to Impact?
He's been signed over the year, but also like their taping schedule, he probably has worked more independent dates than he's worked for Impact, which is why we put him in.
But he's been signed for the majority of the year. Harley Hudson and Leon Slater got signed, what, a month ago?
Yeah, I think we can let this swing. I think we can.
Blake's been signed to AEW since last year.
No, he's signed to Ring of Honor.
Same fucking difference.
Oh, well then he's not an indie wrestler either then.
Well, it's a Ring of Honor. It's indie, so we don't count Ring of Honor as indie wrestling anymore.
I think
it's owned by AEW. Like they have more AEW talent on fucking Ring of Honor than they do Ring of Honor talent. It's not an indie promotion.
Be honest with yourself. Sarah cry by making me delete Blake Christian? Is that what you're telling me?
I love Blake Christian. I do.
Are you trying to ruin my relationship, Troy? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Genuinely do love Blake Christian. I think he's absolutely fucking unreal. I really, really do. But if we're using that argument, he's not an indie wrestler.
Blake, we're sorry. You don't meet the definition. We love you. We'll buy you a boat on. Next time in Liverpool, see you and piss out your ass next time you're doing a progress show.
All shot.
Have Harley or Leon appeared on Impact TV yet?
They were on recordings when they did it in Coventry and
I'm not going to count that. I mean, in America.
No,
Leon has, yeah.
What
on their weekly television? Leon's appeared on it.
No, but was it the one that was recorded in the UK, or was it one that was recorded in the States?
But that's still under the same umbrella of Impact.
No, I'm just asking. Was it? Has he been over there and been on a recorded one? Was it when they were in the UK?
No, it was when they're in the UK.
Okay, fair enough.
Now Speedball's gone. That opens the fucking field wide open for my boy. Can I just push someone straight through who definitely deserves to be in the top three? Can I just push for Gringo Loco?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Get him up there.
The base guard.
Lock that man in.
Because I saw him do things in Liverpool that I didn't think were humanly possible. He was easily the rest of the year at GCW TNT. World on Lucha was my favorite indie show of the year this year. I think he's had a stellar year, and he's appeared on Ring of Honor, but not in Ring. He's signed. So,
should we start whittling a few more off though? I think because there's still quite a lot there. Like I'd argue, Matt Cardona doesn't need to be on there.
George South can go. That's a mean pick.
No, he can't. Whoa.
Who's George South?
Oh, Troy, you don't know. He's like the Ric Flair of the indie scene. Shouldn't be wrestling.
No, he isn't. He's a good Christian man.
He's a good man, but he shouldn't wrestle.
Matt Cardona, I don't think it's been his year. Like last year felt bigger for him. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Tate,
I don't think again is enough. He's probably got a big year coming up, but I don't think this has been his one.
Tate, this is greatness.
I mean, I'm going to need some convincing on Spike Trevay because all I see when I look at Spike Trevay is Triple H of the Indies. This is fucking Reign of Terror.
He is getting around to a lot of places though. He's doing some good ones.
Well, I don't like
really
people who hold belts hostage and don't drop them when they should.
Well, when should he have dropped it? Just out of interest.
I mean, it's probably one of the 5 times he wrestled like us.
Yeah, man's got points.
Yeah,
man's
fair.
got a point.
Take him off then.
On the list.
I respect him, but you know.
Yeah.
So the only thing that defines him is just a man who wins the title, and I don't know anything he does beyond that.
I'd say get Matt Tremont off because he's not done much.
Yeah, he hasn't done
I
very
love
much.
Matt Tremont, but yeah.
He did become a spooky boy called Killdozer for a bit.
Speaking of deathmatch, guys, can I push for the locking in of Bear for Joe?
I was gonna say he won Tournament of Death. He should absolutely be fucking.
He won Tournament of Death. He won the TNT Extreme Championship. He won DOA.
He's been doing stuff in
He stuck a needle in someone's dick, which went all over Twitter.
Did do that.
I think as a deathmatch wrestler, there's not a lot more you can do to sort of push yourself forward here.
I think he's going to have a big year in GCW next year because they've started using him a bit more again. But I think he's had a banner year for his career so far.
Wasn't he in the Nick Gage Invitational as well?
That was last year.
Was it?
All right. He was over in GCW this year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I thought he was in it this year.
He wrestled Sawyer Wreck the other week. He had a banger with it.
There you go. I think he is now carrying the flag for the entire UK deathmatch scene, and I think he deserves, based on that and based on like what he's won this year, I think he's an easy lock.
Yeah.
Nice glass, by the way, Troy.
Thank you, darling.
For the same argument of what I made for Leon for Breakout start, I think Leon should probably be up there as well because he's been everywhere and he's been like winning belts everywhere.
By the same note, man like Derice as well.
Yeah.
I think
he's been he's been GCW 3-4 times this year.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I think Derice is gonna be a lot more prominent next year because he's already got tons of dates booked for GCW next year.
He was on the Collective. Was it the Collective he was on this year?
He was on the Collective this year.
He was off for the culture, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He had a few matches there about 3 weeks ago as well at the start of the month. But I do think he's going to be someone who's we're going to be talking about Derice more next year.
So
I think.
Before we move on to that, are we putting Joe up there? Is Joe ascending? Yeah. So then are we sort of debating now? Is the third pick Leon or Derice?
Well, we haven't even discussed Brian or Lizzie or Effie or
really
Harley.
Right, talk to me about Effie, Ryan.
Effie, have you seen Effie recently?
Aye.
He
grown his hair.
He is fucking massive now. That's the only reason I want to put him up there.
So you're putting him up there because he's gotten bigger.
Oh, he's
got jacked. Daddy is stacked right now.
Yeah.
If there was a most jacked category, he would be number one with a bullet.
Well, it wouldn't. It'd be Shreddy, wouldn't it? It'd be Shreddy. Don't lie.
He looks like 20. He looks like 2000 Triple H, 2000 Triple H.
Yeah.
There is another category I can discuss him later.
Yeah, I don't know if he's been the best indie wrestler this year though, Ryan. That's my only.
Yeah, well, he hasn't won anything. As far as I can remember, he hasn't really won much. He's just been wrestling.
Bin him off. We love you, Effie, but
with respect, Daddy is out.
We love our Daddy.
I think this just isn't his category. That's the only thing. I think he's had a good year. I just don't think this is his category.
Yeah,
I'd say Lizzie Evo's had a fucking banging year as well.
So Troy, you know Lizzie a lot. You've worked with Lizzie a bit this year. You know what she's done more than anyone else. Do you wanna sort of give us the run on Lizzie?
Lizzie's fantastic. Like fucking good friend of the podcast. Like was she the one of the very first people we interviewed? Like she's always got time for us. She's humble. Yeah. She puts the graft in. Like that. You see shows like happen across.
She was the first and only 1PW Women's Champion.
Yeah. I was lucky enough to be there for that, and that was awesome. But like you look wrestling's a full-time job, and that's not say from anyone else on this, but like she's very open to the fact that she's fortunate enough for it to be her full-time kind of thing. You can look at like UK shows that happen every single weekend, and she is on them somewhere up and down the country. Like how she hasn't traveled about more, like talking about the likes of Leon Slater, man like Derice. We see them going about Europe a lot, even stateside. I don't know how or why Lizzie hasn't been further afield. And I think maybe next year we might start to see that. I'd like to put her up there in this, but like a couple of others that we've kind of removed for the same reason, I think next year is probably going to be more her year.
But she has won quite a few belts this year.
Without doubt, she has. She really, really has. But I would still put the likes of Big F and Joe, Gringo Loco, Man Like Doris, or Leon Slater above her in this instance. Just, yeah.
I think we can take out Brian Keith for the same reason we took him out of Breakout.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, Tasty. We already knows winning Best Indie Wrestler next year. Probably.
Kate Calloway.
Like 99% chance. I was going to say Mustafa Ali. But...
He's stacking the deck right now, isn't he?
99% chance that he fucking wins it.
His whole booking philosophy is just only bangers by the things.
Yeah. I think Harley's had a really good year. I feel like if Faye was here, she would be fighting for Lizzie and Harley right now.
I'm gonna fight for Harley. She won that Rainbow Rumble. She's done so much in TNT this year. She's fucking just incredible.
She's been all over the place, and she ended the year
she's really elevated herself, as though she had to do it all herself, which is and she's done it from a position of being a woman who's not she doesn't wrestle like a conventional women's wrestler. She wrestles more with a power style. She's not the biggest physically, but she's strong and she's unique and she's got a great look. I could talk myself into a Harley Hudson up here.
I think out of the 4 that are left, I think they're all excellent.
I think you can make a case for all of them to go up here. I think you can make a case
I feel like out of everyone, Leon's had the best year because he's won multiple world championships and companies.
So's Doris, though.
But
just as many and arguably more travelled. I'm not disagreeing with Leon Slater, but
you are though, aren't you? Because you're saying so's Doris.
I'm saying how do you choose one over the other? In that they both won so many all over the place.
The only thing I'll say is tiebreaker is I have been on for my sins some forums this year talking about wrestling stuff, and American audiences know who Leon Slater is. They don't know any of the others.
Leon Slater has been on so many GCW shows this year as well. There's a reason why he ended up getting signed by TNA at the end of the year.
Fair. Because
he's literally been all over the fucking place. He went to Mexico with TNA, with GCW. He has been all over the UK. He's been all over Europe, and he's been all over the US.
I suppose the fact that he
17.
He's older than 17.
Is he 19?
I think he's 20, 21.
I'm sure he was 17 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He's a teenager. I'm fine.
He's early 20s. I think, but to your point, you mentioned one thing I think that's the standout there. He got signed to TNA. I think that probably pips him over. And Harley Hudson obviously signed as well, but if we're trying to distinguish 19. Between... Is he?
Yeah,
okay.
He's 19 years old.
But crucially, Troy, Harley Hudson signed the gut check thing, so
true.
She's a developmental deal. Leon Slater is signed to the roster.
Yeah.
So I think as a farewell to the Indies, I think we put Leon Slater on. I think it's a little going away present. We have to recognize the youngest in charge before he departs the Indies.
Yeah, man.
But is he the top of those 3 that we've put up?
No, it's Gringo.
Gringo Loco.
Is it Gringo? Is it Gringo Loco? All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So we'll raise up with again. It was a close. This was tighter than I thought it was going to be. This was a close run thing, but
so.
I think we got it right. I think we got it right there.
I think Doris is going to have the year that Leon's had as far as doing all the GCW shows and that next year, because he's already booked for 3 or 4.
Yeah,
just January.
We'll see him at the Collective again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So best indie wrestler then was Gringo Loco with Leon Slater and Big F and Joe also in the finals. Right, moving on, we've got LGBTQ plus wrestler of the year. So we have our nominees are Effie, Tony Storm, Shay Monet, Anthony Bowens, Speedball Mike Bailey, Ali Catch, Dark Sheik, Commander Sterling, Helen Charlotte Campbell, Harley Hudson, and Fred Rosser.
Question.
Well,
what's the criteria for this? Is it what they have done for the LGBTQ plus scene, or is it in ring, or because with a lot of the other categories,
I think it can be anything. I think it can be.
All right.
Well, get Shame and A the fuck out there because they can't even beat Tate Mayfair.
Fuck off. Awful booking, like Tasty said.
That's not Shay's fault.
But I also agree. I would get rid of Shay.
Sadly, I respect Jay for being the first opening gay TNT champion, which was awesome. However, I don't think a 5-minute title reign can get you
it's
all
not
the way
fair.
to the top in this category.
It's not fair.
Listen, mate, I know it's
justice for Shay.
I know it's not fair.
I think
greatness.
And I think Shay's going to have a really good year next year, maybe. I think he's really positioned well. So keep an eye on Shay Monet. Someone who I was really quite ambivalent about at the start of this year, but now I'm really quite a big fan of. So they've done a really good job. But not quite this year. Looking down that list, I put Commander Sterling in just because I really like them. But do we think they've done enough?
They've been fine.
Have they been prominent?
I wouldn't say
they've been consistent.
They've been prominent, not maybe consistent, but definitely brought a lot of eyes to indie wrestling, and they've done a lot. They've done a lot to take the world of wrestling and the world and the sort of LGBT community and bring them together. I think when you go to a show that Commander Sterling's on, you see a lot more LGBTQ people in the audience, which I think is really good. And really
I would like to add someone to that list that some may or may not be familiar with. Adam Bolt.
Oh, Adam Bolt's great. Adam Bolt's great.
Yeah.
Seen him in a few shows this year.
I'm fortunate enough to film a lot of his stuff, promotion over this way in Stratford. He's fucking outstanding. And you're talking about people that are putting a lot of eyes on wrestling for the community. Numerous interviews with BBC and other like media and news outlets and stuff this year, and really putting a focus on it. So, yeah, he gets my vote.
For the same reason, I'd like to just give Anthony Bowens his flowers because he does tons of work for
agreed.
The LGBTQ community. Like
the fact that we got to a point in 2023 where a stadium full of fans were chanting "He's gay" at Anthony Bowens, and it was meant in a positive way.
Yeah.
Like that is if you were around during the Attitude Era, if you were watching wrestling 25 years ago, like oh my God, how far we've come, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he uses. I think he uses his kind of platform and the fact he's got eyes on him because he's in like one of the big two companies in the US. He uses that really well to kind of like try and promote, like good things within the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Would we be happy putting Bowens up based on that?
I mean, if you add in the fact that he's a fantastic wrestler as well, I'd definitely put him in the argument for that. If everyone else is happy.
It's difficult. I don't want to say like because he's got the biggest platform out of everyone here, but he also uses his platform the most. So how do we balance that?
That's the thing, exactly. Yeah. Which is part of the reason I asked like how we're basing this, how we're judging this at the start, because it's easy to stand out when you're on a platform. That will say it's easy. It's easier to stand out on a platform.
If you're judging it just on what they do for the community, Effie's your number one.
I mean, Effie is like the president of gay wrestling.
Effie would be number one it's almost like an unwritten he would be number one every year because it puts an entire event on an entire pay-per-view.
This year he brought big gay brunch to the UK, Liverpool, which is a big thing, and it was huge. A big thing for the scene in the UK.
Yeah.
I think Effie's an easy elevator, isn't he? I think we have to.
Yeah.
Just because of that, because of like putting on shows in multiple continents just to support like the gay wrestling scene is just huge. And
massive.
As someone who wouldn't have a big platform if they didn't make themselves a big. I think Effie does a lot of work in that respect. He could easily just be another indie guy, but he's not. He basically stands, and it must be so hard to stand up on the internet and be like the figurehead of gay wrestling in like the world. Like I can only imagine what his fucking Twitter mentions look like every morning.
Yeah.
So,
who else have we
and
got on there?
and for being a top lad, and for getting swole as fuck. I think for all those reasons, we can put Effie up there quite easily.
And for doing a great John Moxley impression.
Yeah, telling us stories about kissing John Moxley and Suzuki. Probably the only man in the world who's kissed both John Moxley and Minoru Suzuki.
I mean, that's bucket list stuff there.
So yeah, Effie goes up.
Who else have we got on there then? We've not mentioned the likes of Ali Catch, Dark Sheik, Helen Charlotte Campbell.
I think we can get rid of Ali Catch, to be fair.
Yeah.
Why? I'm not disagreeing. I'm asking why.
Because Effie's there. And she's tied to Effie.
I think she does a lot more than just being tied to Effie, though, mate, to be fair.
Is she a good wrestler?
Yeah.
Great. Like Effie undoubtedly does more for
Friend
the
of the
community for the
podcast,
scene
Ali.
generally.
She's a friend. Sorry, Ali, I love you.
I would say there's other people on the list that probably stand out more than
Ali's
her.
Great, but yeah, I think we can maybe go maybe say she's not quite moving the needle as some of the other people are. Like someone like Dark Sheik, for example, who is out there,
Dark
putting on
Sheik
events.
could be put up there for the match with Helen.
Yeah. So Dark Sheik and Helen had the first all trans UK wrestling match, which was incredible. Great to see. Dark Sheik is phenomenal. She does a lot of work with Hood Slam still, books a lot of matches. I know is also another one of those sort of like not guardians, but sort of like custodians of the LGBTQ wrestling scene in America. So yeah, I think Dark Sheik is a strong contender here.
Yeah, I agree. What else you got there?
Also
Fred
had the best
Rosser
t-shirt of the year as well.
I don't think he should be there.
Why?
I mean,
I don't
with
know much of what he's done. I know he was I watched him at the Collective, but other than that, I don't know what he's done.
He used to be in WWE, was in New Japan.
I know who he is. Yeah, it's Darren Young. Yeah, I know who it is, but
very nice man.
I don't know what he's done other than the big gay branch at the Collective.
I'd say it's not so much about what he's done; it's more what have you done for me recently. Where he's not really done a lot this year. He's had quite a quiet year in general, not just like with like his work with the community, just in general.
Yeah,
he's had quite a quiet year. So by that sort of account, I'd probably say I wouldn't elevate him.
Yeah.
Who's he signed with? Is he with New Japan Strong?
Yeah, but he's not really. He had a decent feud with Juice Robinson at the start of the year, but he's not really done anything since.
That feud was great though. It was really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
But again, if we're sort of this, I mean, I don't want to be like unfair, but if this category sort of become like, what have they done to promote and elevate the scene?
I think it should be like kind of a mixture. Like it should be that like foremost, but obviously if we're kind of splitting hairs on it as well, like they all do that, it should be like based on like
that should be like a tiebreaker sort of thing. Yeah. So on that, I mean, if that's the of a mind to scratch Rosser, I'm also of a mind to scratch Tony Storm and Bailey, because they don't think that
talk about it that much. They're just very good wrestlers.
And you shouldn't have to being
not that they had to, no. But
being an LGBTQ wrestler doesn't mean you should make that your entire personality. You should only be allowed to talk about LGBTQ issues, but it's hard to sort of award. If it's just like the best wrestler who's LGBTQ, then it's Speedball McBailey. But if it's someone who's like contributed the most to the sort of promotion and protection and cultivation of the LGBTQ scene in wrestling, which is something that is incredibly fragile and incredibly sort of young and very important that it keeps growing, then I think you need to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
In that case as well, I'd probably put Dark Sheik up there.
And that's my, because Darky is someone who will literally wade through the fucking hate to stand up for the community in ways that like I couldn't do.
Go on,
you know,
get him up.
And she's so fucking nice as well. Like we were
She's
talking,
such a nice woman.
we were talking to her like
Honestly.
at Big Gay Brunch and the GCW weekend, and she's an absolute sweetheart. Like
in that
She's
case,
now,
then,
though, so it's okay.
in case then is Bowen's the third pick then, if that's our criteria.
I would say so. I think he does a lot for.
Yeah.
Like,
Go on.
He uses his position in a way to really try and like benefit the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take Bowen's up. So there's our three.
I'm also,
I mean,
not to get too sidetracked, not to bring other things in, but I think Anthony Bowens, as well as doing a lot for the community, also as a man of color as well within that community is even more difficult, arguably.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's doing it and doing it so well is a fucking colossal achievement.
And he always speaks like so eloquently and so like passionately about every aspect of his life, which is and he's doing acting as well now, and he's done a bit of acting this year as well. So he's also like transitioning towards being a bit of a breakout star, which is huge.
He comes across as like very what you see is what you get with him. Like he seems very genuine with everything he does.
Now I know it's the lazy.
Not that the others don't, but.
No. Yeah. I know it's the lazy pick, but it's really easy to just give this to Effie, isn't it?
I think actually though Anthony should get it because he's got a bigger stage, he's got a bigger platform. And like Troy says, he does well.
I mean, if you're I mean, Ryan, without making it, obviously I'm going to default to you a bit on this, but you know, if you're saying give it to Anthony Bones, I'm going to give it to Anthony Bones. I
love Effie and what he does. He probably does arguably more for the community, but Anthony's got a bigger platform, so it's I don't know.
I'll let you make this call, like completely. Who would you?
Effie then, because I'm going to be embarrassed then, because I prefer Effie.
No worries.
So are you basing it on personally who you prefer then, not what they actually do, because that's not the point of the category.
I mean,
because like, otherwise it's that whole you're biased because you were at that show, like.
I will say nothing as not a member of the LGBT community. Nothing moved me more than the speech Effie gave at the end of Big Gay Brunch at the Collective.
Yeah,
I thought that was like the most impassioned.
I love that. Like, on top of the ladder.
Yeah, I think.
Give it to Effie.
I think that puts him over the top. I think.
All right.
Okay.
I feel like that top three there. Everyone wins in that category.
I think so. Really. Yeah.
Everyone who is in the LGBTQ plus community who is in professional wrestling wins because it's your time. Don't let the fucking dinosaurs and the Jim Cornettes and the hate mongers try and gatekeep you or beat you out of the sport and the community. It's your time now. Fucking have it. Anyway, but our top three were Effie, Anthony Bowens, and Dark Sheik, with Effie taking the win. But yeah, everyone's a winner in that category, really.
Hello, yes, Danhausen here. Danhausen has been summoned. You must love this podcast housing, the Untitled Wrestling Podcast housing.